Shiur on Even HaShtiyah, the stone of foundation. All right. So let us begin with the Gemara. In the Beit HaMikdash, in Kodesh HaKodeshim, Holy of Holies, there's a massive. There was a stone. Let me see if I can actually have a picture over here of that stone. Here we go. That stone, which again we'll talk about as we go along too, is this also the stone which happens to be in the dome of the rock on the Har HaBayit. But nonetheless, many opinions hold that it is. There is a stone in Beit HaMikdash in Kodesh HaKodeshim, and on that stone is the ark. Okay, the Aron with the tablets is sitting on this stone. So let us begin now with the Gemara. The Gemara says something quite interesting, and let me bring up the chats over here so I can also, a second, chat, there we go, great, awesome. Okay, says the Gemara, as follows. Okay. Where is it? Did I lose it? Second. Make any sense? Nun Dalet Amud Bet. Yeah, so we're fine. Here it is. Fine. Okay. Says the Gemara. There was a stone in Kodesh HaKodeshim, and that stone's name was Shtiyah, the stone of Shtiyah, which refers to Shtiyah refers to something called the basis. Okay, lahashit in Hebrew actually means something which you use as a foundation. So there's a stone in Beit HaMikdash, Ushtiyah Haita Nikret. Okay, and this stone was called the stone of Shtiyah, Ushtiyah Haita Nikret. Okay, says the Gemara. Tana, Shemimena Ushtat Ha'olam. From that stone, Ushtat Ha'olam means the world was created. Interesting. Or actually, that was the very foundation of the world. Tanan Kaman de Amar Mitzion Nivra Ha'olam. The Gemara says that this opinion, that the stone in Kodesh HaKodeshim is the stone that is the stone that the whole world stemmed from, and that stone happens to be in the city of Yerushalayim. This goes according to the opinion that the world was created from Yerushalayim. What does that mean? Let's see. Let's go on in the Gemara. The Tanya. There's a brisa. The brisa says as follows: Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Olam me'emtzaito nivra. Rabbi Eliezer, the great, one of the greatest of all rabbis of all time, said, Rabbi Yehoshua Geller was his name, the world me'emtzaito nivra. The world was created from its middle, perhaps, let's use the word from its core. So from the core, the world is created. As it says, there's a pasuk that says, Betzeket afar lemutzak uregavim yedubakum. Okay, there's a pasuk in Iyov which alludes, let's not go into the actual nitty-gritty here in the pasuk, but basically the pasuk seems to say that there was a core piece. On this piece, more and more and more earth was wrapped until finally you get the complete earth that we know it today. Don't worry, we'll talk about science, what's going on over here. Have no fear. Let's just see the words in the Gemara first. Rabbi Yehoshua says, no, I disagree. Rabbi Yehoshua says, Olam min hatzdadim nivra. The world was not created from a core stone and then more earth was wrapped around that stone, but rather, the world was created with four corners, and then the internal part of the world was created. Okay. Shneimar.
Wait a second.
Kila sheleg yomar have aretz v'geshem atar v'geshem mitrot uzo. Again, So again, a pasuk again, by the way, also which happens to be in Eov, pasuk in Eov. Okay, so again, something from the sides and then built inside. Rabbi Yitzchak says differently. Even yara hakadosh baruch hu bayam. Hashem put a stone, threw a stone into the sea. Umimenu nishtat haolam. From this stone in the sea, the world came to be. Shneimar, again a pasuk from Eov. Alma danea hotba'u amiyara even pinata, who put the cornerstone of the world, referring again to the sea. But now Chachamim come along and say something completely different. They say, no, it was all created from Tzion. The Chachamim omrim, mitzion nivra. The rabbis say that the world was created from Tzion. As it says, Mizmor la'asaf el Elokim Hashem, and it says Mitzion Michlal Yofi, which means it's the Michlal Yofi, from here the beauty of the world all stems. Very interesting pasuk. So again, Mitzion Michlal Yofi, from Tzion comes beauty, Mimenu Muchlal Yofyo Shel Olam, from the entirety of the beauty all comes from Tzion. So, in other words, if we say over here that Tzion, all beauty, all the power of the world comes from Tzion, the world was created from Tzion. So let's go back a second to the very, very beginning. We're saying over here as follows. The Gemara says that the stone in Beit Hamikdash, in Kodesh HaKodeshim, the Holy of Holies, is the stone that the world was created from. And the Gemara says, well, this stone happens to be in Yerushalayim. It's not in the core of the world. It happens to be in Yerushalayim. So it can't be like the opinions that say that the world was created from a stone in the core of the world. It cannot be like the opinion that says that the world was created from basically there was like a frame of four corners and then the world was created within that frame. It's according to the opinion of the Chachamim that say that the world was created from Tzion. Tzion began everything, and from Tzion the whole world was created. Okay, so let's stop here and be completely confused. First of all, what does it even mean when we say that the stone, the whole world was created from the stone? That's question number one. And number two is that I see everyone here about to jump me saying, 1 second, seriously? The world was created from one stone, and then around that stone it was all wrapped, and the rabbis are arguing if there were stones like in the circumference, and then the internal part of the world was created, something in the core, and then from that the world was created, or Tzion, first it was a stone in the Beit HaMikdash, and from that the world was created. What in the world is going on over here? And of course, we all know in science, as an understatement, that's not exactly the way the world was created. So the Maharal comes along and says something quite fascinating. The Maharal says that when Chazal try to express a very, very deep idea, they try to look for a metaphor. And they'll use a metaphor sometimes from by definition, metaphors will come from the physical world. So they'll use a concept, and sometimes they'll even use perhaps some scientific ideas that the world had at the time. That's the way the world understood it to be. But they're not coming to teach us science. That's not the point of the Gemara. They're coming to teach an idea, and they're using ideas from the physical world. Not only that, as science develops more and more, then the metaphors would, of course, become deeper and deeper and deeper. And of course, there's one more point I want to add to, and then we'll delve into this Gemara a little more. If there's a true argument, then we say, well, there's a real argument here. One's right, one's wrong by definition. An argument, if there's an ultimate truth, then one is right, one's wrong. But sometimes it's not truly an argument. Sometimes each rabbis trying to share another attribute, another thought, and they're not truly arguing. And if that's the case, then we say Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim, meaning everything we just said right now they're all true. So again, we have to be careful. It doesn't mean that every time there's an argument, oh, they're all right. It does not say that. It says that again, if there's an actual true fact and they're actually arguing about some kind of fact, one will be right, one will be wrong. If they're not coming to argue a fact, they're coming to just have a discussion, they're just contributing to each other. And then basically speaking, we say that all sides can be right. There are times, by the way, also in certain facts that in some cases, where they can be both right, like one side from one attribute, one from another, one from one angle from another, but in fact, they all can be true. Okay, so now let me stop talking for a second and let me ask you, when I talk about the foundation of the world, where did the world stem from? The foundation, was it founded by the core of the world? Is it founded from Sion? What does it even mean? Where was the world founded from? What are you talking about? The physical world again. The rabbis, let's just make this clear. They're not talking at all about the physical world, how it was founded. It's just literally used as a metaphor. Maral is adamant about that. All the other commentaries are out about that. There's an interesting Zohar about this as well, as we'll see very, very soon. Everyone agrees we're not talking about exactly how the physical world was created. So what then? Let's go. When we talk about creation of the world and it's in the Holy of Holies, what are we talking about? Let's go. What does creation of the world mean? When I talk about your world, the world, what is the creation of the world? What is the world we're talking about? Let's go. Ideas, thoughts, unmute, chat. Let's get to work over here. And then I'll show you the Zohar, show you some other commentaries.
Rabbi,
Yes.
one of the ideas is that the Shekhinah basically is over Yerushalayim mainly. I mean, even with the world, but this is where Hashem's essence basically is, where his house is. And from here, he had the thought of how he's creating the world. So it could be that because where he's in, basically this is his home, and especially Yerushalayim, and he thought that the thoughts came out from where he basically puts his home.
Okay, so you're saying that the home is the wait. So again, I want to get the points again. So you're saying number one that the Shechina is in Beit Hamikdash, in the Holy of Holies, right? So when you're defining construction of the world, we're defining basically the Shechina, right? We're defining where the Shechina of Hashem stems from and spreads out to the world. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's that Hashem, his essence is here, and he decided from here how he's going to create the world. So it started basically from where the Even Shtia was. Maybe that's, or he created that there, and from there he the whole plan of the world and how he's creating it came from Sion, came from Yerushalayim.
Oh, now that's what you're saying. You're saying the idea of creation of the world, whereas Hashem, the Shechina, basically, on it, somehow Evan Ashtia is representing the Shechina, and the one who decided to create the world was Hashem, i.e., the Evan Ashtia created the world. In other words, the Shechina, Hashem, created the world. That's really what you're saying, right? So we're using a conceptual idea where the rock will represent Shechina, correct? That's what you're saying. Hashem is the one creating the world,
Right,
right?
not the Evan created the world, but that's where Hashem's presence, if you can call it presence, or his
Mm-hmm.
his essence basically is, and that's where it came from, because everything comes from basically Yerushalayim, and so the thoughts of creation came from this particular place because this is Hashem's home.
Okay. But by the way, I just want to share another point, which is like, well, what does it really mean Hashem's home? Hashem is everywhere. So yes, we do say that Beit HaMikdash is Hashem's home, and we do say that the Beit HaMikdash has a place which is the Holy of Holies, yes. But it'll be interesting as we go through the different commentaries here to truly understand what it even means a home for Hashem when Hashem is everywhere in the world. It's absolutely beautiful, and this all connects that there is as actual stone. We'll see very soon. It's fascinating. So the stone represents Hashem. Hashem is everywhere. This is his home. Everything stems from this. Okay, Let me see here other ideas. So Brian is saying the world of Torah, the essence of creation. So Brian, you're coming along. We'll go on one over here. Okay, so Brian is saying as follows. The world is about Torah, right? Uh, so Breshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. So it says over a lot of commentaries in the Medrash over there. What does it mean, Breshit? For Breshit is bara for Shes, basically, which represents a lot of different ideas. One of them being the Torah. So the world is created for Torah. So Brian, you're saying as follows, if I understand you correctly. The Even HaShtiyah, which is in Kodesh HaKodeshim, which was the resting place for the Aron, right? For the Ark with the tablets, which represents, of course, Torah, right? Torah, by the way, is not just something physical. Torah is something spiritual, which we'll get to as we go through. It's like a lot of information over here. But in general, the tablets represent the Torah, right? I mean, they are Torah, and also represent the bigger Torah. So they're sitting on Even HaShtiyah, and that's in Kodesh HaKodeshim, which represents spirituality, which represents Torah. That's the essence of creation. So Brian, if you understand you correctly, you're saying that the core of the world, the purpose of the world, what the world's all about, stems from that we want Torah to spread throughout the world, and that's represented by the Rak HaShtiyah. Right, the rock of foundation. Is that correct, Brian?
That's
If not,
correct.
please.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, I got
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Aliza. Aliza's saying, does anything to do with the tzaddik is the foundation of the world? Whoa, Aliza's hitting something amazingly beautiful. Aliza says, 1 second. There's a concept that the tzaddik, a righteous person, is the foundation of the world. Well, the answer is yes, it's absolutely connected to that, Aliza, which as long as you bring it up, but let me just see a second what Nomi's saying. Just like a seed, everything the world needs to develop is concentrated at the source. Okay, so Nomi is saying basically something interesting. Nomi's saying that Even HaShtiyah is not necessarily this one, right? Basically, Nomi, you're saying that the whole world is Hashem. Everything is Hashem. Everything is Torah. Everything is spirituality, right? But at the end of the day, there's always going to be some kind of seed. We need something which we, right? Some concentration of maybe a concentration of the physical world and some connection to holiness. Something over there, some seed, some connection.
It's like similar to the ideas that I think everyone else is saying, but from like a different, I think everyone is like getting,
please go ahead.
yeah. I think everybody's getting at the same idea that it's it's showing that this has to be like the most important thing where everything comes from has to have the the ultimate purpose of the world.
Okay, so we're talking about purpose. So in general, so
Yeah.
let's just summarize what we're saying, right? We're saying so there's some purpose in the world. Somehow, somewhere, someplace, this rock represents that purpose, right? And somehow the whole world now was actually created from Sion, from Yerushalayim. This is where the whole world actually stems from. And okay, now, Aliza popped something really interesting over here and says, is there anything to do with a tzaddik? Interesting question. Well, okay. Akidat Yitzchak. Now, wish I had more stuff in English today. Hopefully next week we'll find a little more in English. Okay, now, Even HaShtiyah, something I wanted to do one over here. Whatever. There's a whole bunch of other sources as well. But nonetheless, there's no place explicit that says where Yitzchak Avinu was sacrificed, where Akedat Yitzchak was. Was it the place of the Mizbeach, the original place where the altar is, right outside the Beit HaMikdash, outside of the Heichal, or the main hall of Beit HaMikdash? Or was he sacrificed on the Even HaShtiyah? There is a tradition that he was actually sacrificed on Even HaShtiyah. Now, more interesting than that, I'm going to throw you for a little bit of a loop right now. In the Even HaShtiyah, which is located, again, assuming that is the Even HaShtiyah, but according to many sources, that is, in the Dome of the Rock. There also happens to be a cave. Believe it or not, we'll also show pictures as we go along. Also happens to be a cave underneath that rock. There's a cave over there. And there are also various sources that when Avram Avinu is now preparing the Akedah, he puts Yitzchak inside that cave under Even HaShtiyah, which is very interesting. So, and the reason for that is, why did he put him inside of a cave? He put him over there because he didn't want, again, these are all, there's going to be metaphors for the bigger idea soon. A korban, as we know, must be perfect with no blemish. It says that Avram Avinu feared that 1 second. What happens if, while he's preparing everything for the korban, for the sacrifice, what happens if Yitzchak falls down, gets hurt, and then is blemished? Then he no longer can bring him as a sacrifice. Again, a metaphor. And then Avram Avinu then puts him into this cave to safeguard him. Okay, so cave under Even HaShtiyah happens to be, by the way, there is a cave over there. Unbelievable. There's a cave. And Yitzchak Avinu goes into the cave, and Yitzchak is sacrificed either on Even HaShtiyah, by the altar, which is actually right next to there. So either way, it's the same area. There's another interesting thing, another medrash which we'll bring not this week, maybe next week, which talks about on Monday. It says Yikavu Hamayim Asher mitachat hashamayim el makom echad v'tira'eh hayabasha. All the waters in the world all gather into one spot, and the land shall be seen. And there's a medrash over there that says all the water gathered into the cave over there under Even HaShtiyah. Whoa! What in the world? So we do see though in a lot of other midrashim, which talks about Hashem created the world for that famous cave, and that cave again is a cave under Even HaShtiyah. So something over here is way more than we even expected. Somehow this rock is the core of the world. Where, why, what's going on over here, what does it represent? We'll talk about it. And then, but we also find now something brand new. You're going to go home, we're going to finish the shir, you're going to say, well, you know what I discovered today? Not only is a stone something really fascinating, but there's a cave underneath. Hey, that's one interesting chiddush. But number two, this cave also was the essence of the creation of the world. The world was created for this cave, and that's a cave where all the water of the world somehow centered into, and that's where Yitzchak was also held to make sure that he doesn't get any blemish. What in the world? What's going on over here? Okay, let's go now. Now back to the shir. Let's go. Okay, Aliza asked a question. Anything to do with the fact that a tzaddik is a foundation of the world. But before we answer the question, I want to share, what does it even mean that tzaddik is a foundation of the world? So we say in Kriyat Shema that one should love Hashem. One should love Hashem. And of course, the question is, well, how does one love Hashem? So it says, "V'ahavta Hashem lokecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha." Wonderful. And the next pasuk says, "V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochim etzavcha hayom al levavecha." Listen to the words I'm teaching you; they should be upon your heart. Now, how in the world are you supposed to learn? You're supposed to learn by going to a tzaddik who then teaches you. So basically speaking, the way to love Hashem is by learning the Torah. The way to learn the Torah is to connect to those who know the Torah, those who got the Torah, those who are spreading the Torah's spirituality. So that's the idea that if you want to connect to Hashem, you connect to those who have studied the Torah, who are very close to Hashem, and you connect with them, and by there you're connecting to Hashem. You have to be very, very careful. It sounds a little bit like out of worshiping. That's where we have to be very, very careful. We're not worshiping them as them, worshiping them as the emissaries of Hashem. They're actually the ones that are helping us learn Torah, getting closer to Hashem. So the righteous people taught us the way. Who are the foundation of the Jewish nation? Let's go. Foundation of the Jewish nation. Which people are the foundation of the Jewish nation?
Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov.
Beautiful. Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Great. Wonderful. Now, what does it mean they are the foundation? What do we mean they are the foundation of the nation of Israel? What does it mean? So it means that the traits and all the ability of connecting to Hashem and spirituality and rising up all stems from these three men. I have to stress also, we had the Avot, we had the Imahot. Every one of them had very special powers, right? We had the three forefathers, and we had the what are they called? The Imahot. What's it called in English? Help me out a little bit. Called, what do we call them in English? Not to call the four mothers. Is the fathers and the mothers. What's it called?
Matriarchs.
Yeah, they're just all called the patriarchs. That's what they're called.
Matriarchs.
The matriarchs.
The women.
Matriarchs and patriarchs. Okay. Now, each one of them has a special, very, very, very special mitzvah. So we talk about how wonderful and great they were, but it's not exact. Because, for example, a big question asked was, well, Avraham Avinu did a Kodesh. It's like, oh, the greatest of all, he was willing to sacrifice his son. And Chazal asked, well, what are we talking about? We see in the era of the first temple, we see in the era of the second temple, we see in the different Galiot that we're in, people sacrifice their children time and time and time again. But we died in the name of Hashem. And actually, a pasuk in Shir Hashirim that says that the love for you, Hashem, is so strong, the fire is so strong that we literally have given our lives for you. That's what the pasuk in Shir Hashirim says. So what's the greatest of Avraham Avinu if we also have sacrificed ourselves for Hashem? Why is he more than us? And the answer is that he's the seed. Elisa, what you were saying is true. He is the seed because Avraham Avinu instilled that the purpose of life is spirituality and Hashem, and if it means giving up our lives, that's what we'll do. And there's something higher and bigger than just our lives, and that was founded by Avraham Avinu. Yitzchak gave him his life up. Avraham was willing to sacrifice his son, his only son. Yitzchak was willing to sacrifice himself. He was quite a mature adult at the time, and he could have easily resisted. He was willing to sacrifice himself for Hashem. Yaakov went through so many treacherous nisyonot, and he went through a lot. We talk about Sarah Imenu, who was able to deal with the very, very big difficulties from being captured by Pharaoh to being captured by Avimelech and dealing with Hagar. She taught us so much. Rivka, Rachel, every one of the Arbei Mahot and Shalosh Avot and Arbei Mahot basically set a foundation, giving us the powers that we have today. They weren't just great, nice people that had a wonderful family. They instilled these tremendous capabilities in the nation. By the way, also we talk about being pure. So Avraham Avinu's seed was not pure. So Avraham Avinu has Yitzchak, but he also has Yishmael. Yitzchak Avinu has Yaakov, but also has Esav. Yaakov is what's called the pure of pure, and all the 12 tribes are all pure, and that therefore they become the foundation of Am Yisrael. So it's not just 12 tribes. It's after Yaakov Avinu becomes the purest of the purest, then we're now able to move on into Am Yisrael, who have a job and a mission, by the way, to be a light to the nations, to make the whole world a better world, which is why I just want to jump forward for a second. In Beit HaMikdash, we don't just bring korbanot for Am Yisrael. We're not celebrating, we're the greatest nation in the world, we're close to Hashem. What is the mission of Beit HaMikdash? What does Shlomo HaMelech say? Ki beiti beit tefillah yikareh, my house will be a house of prayer. Lekol ha'amim, for all the nations of the world, be a light to the nations. All the nations of the world came to see Shlomo HaMelech. That represented that idea. That was like the seed of what it's all about. It's so nice and special that all nations of the world want to come and connect with Hashem. That's what it's about. Now, who was the seed of that idea of Shlomo HaMelech, that we want to connect with all the nations in the world? Avram. No, what does the name Avraham mean? Av Hamon Goyim, the father of the many nations, right? So we think seed. Unbelievable. So Avraham is a seed that we're here to basically bring spirituality to the whole world. Shlomo HaMelech, many years later, when he builds the Beit HaMikdash and has the Even HaShtiyah now, actually does it via the Beit HaMikdash, and the glory connects to the whole world. By the way, we talk about what does Even HaShtiyah connect with everything. It says that in the holidays, they used to open the curtains. They would open the curtains of of the Holy of Holies, so everyone could see the ark and see the love of Hashem with the Jewish nation, not with the Jewish nation, with in general, again, with the Jewish nation representing the spirituality being brought to the whole world. So basically, Hashem connecting with the world. Okay, so now, quick back. Let's now talk about Evan Ashtiyah and Avram and Yitzchak. So Avram Avinu now is trying to bring the whole world into Shechina. He now has a son, Yitzchak. Avram Avinu now put to the test of sacrificing his own child. Yitzchak being put to the test of actually sacrificing his own life. And all that's done on Evan Hashtiyah. And Yitzchak now was also put for safekeeping in the cave under the Evan Hashtiyah. All right, so back to the idea. Seed, tzaddik, foundation of the world. So Evan Ashtiyah now gets a very strong spiritual boost, let's say. So now, in your mind now, after we hear the story of the Akedah, what now is Evan Ashtiyah representing? Now we see Abraham, Yitzchak, Akedah. Again, was the Akedah exactly on Evan Ashtiyah or not? We don't know, but tradition says yes. At least one of the traditions says yes, and again, the cave used. So let's go. Let me stop talking for a second. So now let's move on one step forward. Okay? Tzaddik, foundation, Evan Ashtiyah. Let's go. What is Evan Ashtiyah now represent in your mind? Now that we see that the Akedah, the foundation of the tzaddikim, had to do with that rock. One step further. Let's go. Ideas, thoughts. Evan Ashtiyah, Akedah's Yitzchak. What's the connection between the two of them?
Beginning of the Jewish people.
Okay. Okay, so we have, right? So, and what element of the Jewish people? Interesting, no? Again, Evan Ashtiyah. It's the beginning, right? It's the beginning, right? We have Avram Yitzchak. That's definitely the beginning. Go ahead. And why Evan Ashtiyah? Well, it's like it's interesting, right? Let me skip forward a few other. Hey, Yaakov Avinu goes to sleep, right? And he sleeps, and again, the place where he sleeps happens to also be that area too, right? So what's going on over here? Like it's like the forefathers, the foundation of the nation, are somehow affecting that area of the Evan Hashtiyah. They're somehow saying that this is going to be the foundation for the whole world. This is going to be the foundation where we not just worship Hashem, but are willing to sacrifice our lives for Hashem. And now that brings us into something interesting. What is the place that Evan Ashtiyah is located in? It's in Kodesh HaKodeshim, right? Now, is Kodesh HaKodeshim a place that is sacrifice for Hashem? Where do we see the ultimate sacrifice for Hashem in Kodesh HaKodeshim? What would happen to a Kohen who was not 100% pure and holy on Yom Kippur when he walks into Kodesh HaKodeshim?
He
What
would
happens?
die
Why? Very good. Why?
because he wasn't holy.
Okay, and
He
therefore,
wasn't righteous.
okay, so it's a
He couldn't
punishment.
stand before God.
Ah, so wait. So one second. By the way, this is true even in the second temple with no ark, right? True?
Yes.
Okay, so it's nothing to do with the ark specifically. It's got to do with the fact that someone's in Kodesh HaKodeshim. Now, the basis of Kodesh HaKodeshim is the rock of foundation, the Evan Ashtiyah. So what is this representing again? So is it just a punishment that they're not holy and therefore they die? He's saying no, they're not worthy. So what is Kodesh HaKodeshim really? Is it holy? Why does it kill people?
We have to be worthy to stand before Hashem.
Okay. And if someone stands before Hashem, by definition, they're not in the physical world, correct? They're not in the
That's
physical
true.
world, right? So when one walks into Kodesh HaKodeshim, one, basically speaking, is walking into the realm. Someone said before, over here, like the house of Hashem, it sort of becomes Kodesh HaKodeshim, rock of foundation. Let's see where we're going with this right now, okay? Rock of foundation represents house of Hashem, represents the spirituality itself. So if a human being is standing on the rock of foundation, by definition, they're standing in the realm of Hashem, and no human being can be in the realm of Hashem and still be alive. Because Hashem is spiritual. We're living the world of the physical world. So the Gemara already asks this question. It says that Kilori Rani Ha'adam V'chai, no man can see me and live. So Moshe Rabbeinu tried to see Hashem. Hashem says, you can't see me. If you see me, you're not alive. Yeah, a human being can't see Hashem. So the Gemara asked, but the Kohen Gadol, didn't the high priest walk into Kodesh HaKodeshim on Yom Kippur? And the Gemara says, yes, but when he walks in, he's not a human being. He's an angel. He's an angel at the time. Whoa, 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 whoa. So if a person purifies themselves, then they're able to literally give up the entire physical world. At that moment, yes, they are physical, but internally, spiritually, they're spiritual. They're not interested in anything physical. At that moment, they can touch the rock of creation. So the rock of creation, quick summary, everything we're saying till now. Rock of creation somehow represents that in the physical world, a human being can actually become spiritual. That's the source of everything. It's really all about spirit. The physical is actually a wrapper. Everything is wrapped around. The core of everything is spirit. We have a body that's a wrapper. We need food that's a wrapper. Everything's a wrapper. But the core of us is truly spiritual. Evet HaShtiyah represents the physical world. If you're only interested in the spiritual, this now becomes the core of everything. Avram and Yitzchak sacrificed themselves the highest possible level. Avram sacrificing his son, Yitzchak sacrificing himself, and they're standing there, Evan Hashtiyah, saying, we don't care about anything anymore in the physical world, just Hashem. That's where it happens. And that becomes the foundation of Kodesh HaKodeshim, where a human being now is 100% connected and 100% holy. So if a person is not 100% holy, walks into Kodesh HaKodeshim on Yom Kippur, by definition, well, it just can't be, and then they die because a person just can't physically be around in a place of complete spirituality. So what's interesting again is the Kodesh HaKodeshim now represents a place where a physical person becomes 100% holy and in the physical world. Now, what do we do on Yom Kippur to represent the idea that we don't care anything about the physical world and we're all spiritual? Let's go. You see how beautifully this whole idea we just said right now connects perfectly to our minhagim on Yom Kippur. Let's go. What do we do on Yom Kippur that represents that we're spiritual and not physical? What do we do?
Fast.
Representing what? Are we atoning for a sin? No. I mean, there is an element too. We fast. We atone.
Spiritual. We're not doing
What's that?
anything. We're not doing anything physical. We're not eating. We're not drinking. We're not tashmish mitah. All these things. The physical.
No physical. That's right. And shoes also, right? Not even shoes.
Shoes,
Right? Also, now shoes. By the way, shoes. Physical. Let's go. Moshe Rabbeinu. First time he actually connects with Hashem by the burning bush. What does
He had
Hashem
to take
tell
his
him?
shoes off.
Take your shoes off.
Yeah.
Because shoes. What do shoes represent?
Leather. Leather is an animal. Is physical.
That's true, and that's true. That's physical, and also this fact of shoe also represents when you actually walk through the world with a shoe. It represents a physical attribute.
Materialism.
Materialism. That's right. Physical in the world, right? Okay. So now, what else do we do on Yom Kippur? It's interesting. A minhag by the Ashkenazim. The Ashkenazi men on Yom Kippur. Something else representing angels.
I'm wearing a kittel.
Wearing a kittel, white. That's correct. So the idea again is Yom Kippur, unlike the other fasts, where the fasting is about atoning for sin. A person is suffering. A person has time for introspect. Yom Kippur is a completely different ballgame, completely different. Now, let's go back a second to the Gemara. The ideas over here keep talking about how the world was created. We're not actually talking about the physical world, with the world Hashem have a stone in the middle and build on top of it. Represents basically what the core of the world, what the world is about. And a lot of commentaries here love discussing how none of these rabbis are truly arguing with each other, but they're really adding different ideas of what the world is about, and each one with a different element. I do want to share with you just for a second before we go on about this. Is this Zohar over here? I believe here's a chat from the Zohar. Here we go. Reshit, says the Zohar. Reshit is composed of two words, Kain bara, and Sheis represents again a lot of different ideas of what it actually stands for. A medrash with many ideas. It actually means the number 6 in Aramaic, but it means other things too. But also it means from Even HaShtiyah also means foundation. So Hashem created foundation, says the Zohar. Hakavanah le'Even HaShtiyah, that was built from six corners, or whatever, a whole bunch of Kabbalistic ideas of the idea of different corners. But nonetheless, the idea is that Hashem creates the world somehow for Even HaShtiyah. So it's got a lot of deep meaning in this Even HaShtiyah. I just want to share that we talk about Even HaShtiyah, they talk about not just a stone which happens to be on the ground in Kodesh HaKodeshim, but there's also the concept of Even HaShtiyah, which is under it in the core of the earth. Well, any point you are in earth, by definition, if you draw a straight line down to the bottom, you're hitting the core of the earth. And there's also an Even HaShtiyah, what's called the Yerushalayim Shel Mala, like the heavenly Yerushalayim, which is right over Yerushalayim. Interesting. Zohar, interesting point. I always learned to Even HaShtiyah, but you may be right. I will double check that. Nonetheless. So the Even HaShtiyah basically speaking, is a rock which is not just the rock, but somehow represents a connection between the core of the earth and the heavenly Even HaShtiyah. We talk about Yerushalayim Shel Mata, Yerushalayim Shel Mala, meaning as follows. Let me just get to where I'm trying to say over here. That we asked the question before, how could we say that Beit HaMikdash is Hashem's home when Hashem is all over the world? And one of the many ideas brought is that Hashem connects with human beings on the place of Beit HaMikdash, meaning Hashem is all over the world, but we as humans, as the Kusari brings, cannot just say, oh, Hashem is everywhere. We need to sort of feel, touch. We're physical. So there's going to be a place where we're going to bring sacrifices. We're going to hear beautiful singing of the Leviim, which was so amazingly beautiful and spiritual. It was known, the Medrash says that a person who was a complete atheist would just hear the singing of the Leviim and his heart would melt and just become spiritual. It will be a place where so many different avodot were done, not to mention, of course, the Kohen Gadol Yom Kippur, which Bezrat Hashem we'll discuss in the latest Shurim too. We'll see how that works. Not just, fine, Yom Kippur, the Holy of Holies, let's go in, let's bring some Ktoret. What in the world are we doing with Even HaShtiyah and Yom Kippur? Whoa, what is it all about? Why is that the highlight of Yom Kippur? Well, we'll one of the highlights. We'll see all that. But the bottom line is that we're not saying Hashem is there. We're saying that's where we as human beings connect to Hashem. It's called Shar HaShamayim, the gateway to heaven. Meaning, when we think about Even HaShtiyah, we think about the place of the world, the foundation of the world. We're actually thinking of a place where we connect with Hashem. Hashem is everywhere, but that's a place where we can associate our connection with Hashem so we can actually bring Hashem into the world. And from there, our job now is to spread spirituality throughout the whole world. So that is not just when the world was created, was there an Even Shtia, the foundation of the world, but every moment of our lives. We're connecting with Hashem. That's the idea. We have to connect with Hashem. That's what we have davening. That's what we have learning. That's what we have mitzvot. That's what we have connecting with Talmidei Chachamim. We need to connect with Hashem. And once we have that connection, we can now go out and spread it all over the world. That's why also the big question asked, well, if Pesach is so special that we don't eat chametz, then chametz represents evil, haughtiness, and all the other things it represents. Pesach is spiritual, only matzah. So then why do we eat chametz all year long? Is it not wrong? In Sukkot, we say, wait a second, if Sukkah is so special, we're living in the clouds of Hashem, that's what it represents. We don't need the physical world. So that why then during the year do we live in homes? Should we not be living all year long in tents? Let's live in tents. Let's eat matzah the whole year. What's going on over here? And Chazal teaches, also brought in Michtav Eliyahu, Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler, as a beautiful, beautiful idea. And then with this, we'll put everything together for today's year. That the purpose of these holidays is to give us an infusion of spiritual power. Pesach infuses us with emunah in Hashem. Sukkot infuses us. It gives us an infusion of bitachon that we can rely. We don't need a home. We can live in the clouds of Hashem. And all the other holidays, all the mitzvot we do, all give us this energy. Now, the purpose of life is not to be in the refueling stations. The car's purpose is not to be in a refueling station. It's to go out and drive on the streets. But every once in a while, you need a refueling station. So quick, so everything we've seen right now. The Gemara says as follows, that there's an Even HaShtiyah in Beit HaMikdash. And the Gemara says it's not just a rock. This rock happens to be the source of the whole world. There are a whole bunch of discussion of rabbis, which we'll elaborate on later in Shiurim. But basically, the idea is saying the core of the world was created. It's all about Zion, all about Yerushalayim, all about something really, really, really special. This is the core of the world, the purpose of the world. Everything was created from this. Now, we move on to say that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they are the core, the foundation. We talk about that also, Kodesh Yitzchak, it takes place in Even HaShtiyah. Either the Kodesh itself was Even HaShtiyah, but definitely Yitzchak was hidden over there, as the Medrash says. So the bottom line is something connected to Even HaShtiyah. We talk about now that talks about spirituality. Talk about now connecting to Hashem. Even HaShtiyah, the tzaddikim, make the foundation of total devotion to Hashem. Even HaShtiyah represents total devotion, total connection to Hashem. We then talk about now Yom Kippur, where a person goes into Kodesh HaKodeshim, where the Even HaShtiyah now is located. And Even HaShtiyah represents that you could be physical, you could be a stone, you could be a rock, but completely devoted to Hashem. Just the core of everything. All the physical world is a wrapper actually on that. And the goal is to actually get an energy and now spread it to the entire world. And one more. And it was Zohar saying, we're not chametz. We're not chametz, right. Very, very good point, Zohar. And one more point with this we end for today's year. There's a very, 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 very famous story that Shlomo HaMelech was able to plant all the beautiful fruits of all the world in Israel, and they all blossomed beautifully. Every single fruit everywhere in the world, because it says that the Kodesh HaKodeshim has like veins bringing all the beauty to the entire world. And Shlomo HaMelech actually knew where those veins were lying, and he was able to plant on those veins all the beautiful fruit. That every country in the world has its own unique fruit and own unique flowers, own unique everything. But all that power all stems from Kodesh HaKodeshim, from the Even HaShtiyah. That's where it stems from. And therefore, Shlomo HaMelech now is able to know that all the energy comes from there. He now finds those veins where it comes from there to the world, and he's able to plant on them and get all the beauty of the world. And now we see, by the way, the pasuk over there that we saw, that we see in the pasuk that we saw talking about Even HaShtiyah. It says as follows, and with this we end. Chamim Mitzion Nivra shene'emar, Mitzion Michlal Yofi. From Tzion comes all the beauty of the world. Mimenu Michlal Yofio Shel Olam. From there, all the beauty of the world comes. So, now that we see that the core of the world is really about spirituality, and everything comes from there. So even the physical food and everything else is like that extra layer over the core, which is spirituality. Shlomo Melech is able to understand this, and what he's really able to do is understand that all the beautiful fruits and all the beautiful things the world has to offer, he understands the root of it is spirituality, and they are basically enhancing spirituality. He's able to get to the core of everything, the core of the physical world, Even HaShtiyah, which represents the connection between humans and Hashem, a physical place, which is the home of Hashem, the core of foundation, total devotion, connection with Hashem, otherwise known as Even HaShtiyah. Bezrat Hashem, in the next shiurim, I'd like to, first of all, go into other medrashim and other stories connected to Even HaShtiyah. I'd like to also show it to you, the actual pictures from the dome of the rock, and elaborate a lot more in Even HaShtiyah. First of all, it's come time to thank everyone tremendously, and I want to wish everyone a Shavuot Tov from Yerushalayim. And if there are questions till this point, please do feel free.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shavuot Tov.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shavuot Tov, Chodesh Tov.
Shavuot Tov and Chodesh Tov.
Thank you. That was very mind expanding as always. I love your classes. See you next time.
Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it.